Hello YouTube, this is Hawaiian Air 2121 coming right back at you with another video of an airport update featuring a completely new airport, because this is all retro airlines. This video is supposed to take time back to 2009-2010 before the UA Continental merger, and this airport is located in the greater Chicago area. I kind of combined O'Hare and Midway a little bit, but this is mostly O'Hare, just the Southwest. Don't fly into O'Hare, but I want to include them anyway. Featured in this airport are models that I've not shown you guys, a lot of models actually that I've not shown you, featuring all retro airlines such as US Airways, Virgin America, and Continental, in the blue tulip livery of the United, and all old American Eagle and American Airlines planes that are all in the old livery, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy this airport update. It really means a lot to me, this one, because this is all retro. I hope you guys enjoy this. Let us begin. Starting us off here is the Southwest 737-700 in the Colorado 1 livery. This plane is going to be making a flight out to Denver. I don't know how old this plane is, if they made it back in 2009-2010 with this livery, but I just wanted to include it anyway because it is a cool plane. So this plane is going to be making a flight out to Denver. Next to that, we have a Southwest 737-700 with no winglets. This plane just came in from a flight from LaGuardia. First, in our retro airplanes, we have a Southwest 737-500 in the SeaWorld 1 livery. This plane just came in from a flight from San Antonio. And then we have our Southwest 737-700 in the NBA 1 livery. This plane is making arrangements for a flight out to Dallas Love Field. And concluding our Southwest gates is a Southwest 737-800 Warrior 1 livery. This plane is making arrangements for a flight out to Phoenix. And right outside the terminal, we have a Delta Connection CRJ-900 in the Comair 30 Years livery. This plane is making arrangements for a flight out to Minneapolis. And then we've got a Delta Connection CRJ-200, which just came in from Detroit. And then we have first from our retro airlines, a US Airways Airbus A319 in the PSA Heritage colors. This plane just came in from a flight from Raleigh, Durham. Then we've got a Continental Express ATR-42, which was my first GeminiJets model ever. And it's really not in very good condition. The wheels are missing and there's no propellers. But I decided to include it in this airport update since it was retro. This plane just came in from a flight from Cleveland. Then we've got a US Airways Express ERJ-170. This is going to be making final arrangements for a flight out to Pittsburgh. And then wrapping up the US Airways, I don't have a lot of US Airways fleets. I wish I did, but when I first started collecting, American and US Airways merged, and I got a lot of the new Americans and didn't get a lot of the US Airways. But this is probably the favorite of my US Airways fleet, the CRJ-900. This plane is going to be making a flight out to Pittsburgh. And then we've got a Virgin America Airbus A319 making a flight out to Newark Liberty. And then we have our Frontier Airlines Airbus A319 in the Perry the Puffin livery. This plane is going to be making final arrangements for a flight out to Denver. And we've got our Frontier Airbus A319 in the Seal annual tail. This plane just came in from a flight from Cincinnati. And then we've got my favorite Frontier plane, the Frontier Airlines Dash 8 Q400. This plane is going to be making a flight out to Cleveland. Then we have our custom model here, Frontier Airbus A319 in the Bear Tail. This plane just came in from a flight from Atlanta. Last of the Frontiers is the Frontier Airlines Airbus A319 in the Hummingbird Tail. This plane is going to be making a flight out to Indianapolis. And then we have a retired plane, the DHL 727-200. This plane is one of my favorites of the cargo fleet. I really like it. And this just came in and is heading to the cargo section from San Francisco. And starting with Continental Airlines, we have a Continental Airlines 737-700. This plane just came in from a flight from Houston IAH. And then we have our Continental 737-500 with the SkyTeam badge on it. This is really cool, this model. This model is just coming out at the gate and is headed for a flight out to Newark Liberty. Then we have a Spirit Airlines Airbus A319 in the old colors. This plane just came in from Atlantic City. And then we have an Allegiant Airbus A320 in the old livery. This plane just came in from Orlando. Starting with our Alaska fleet, we have an Alaska 737-800 in the Boeing demonstrator colors. This plane is making arrangements for a flight out to Los Angeles. And then we have an Alaska 737-400. We're going to Disneyland's colors. Instead of going to Disneyland, this is going to be going to Disney World at Orlando MCO, making final arrangements. And then we have an Alaska 737-800, Wild Alaska Seafood, the Salmon 30 Salmon. This plane is going to be making arrangements out to Seattle, Tacoma. And then we have FedEx Schwartz 360 Feeder. This plane just came in from a flight from Memphis and is heading to the cargo section as well. And then we have a Sun Country 737-800, which just came in from a flight from Minneapolis. Starting us off with Deltas, we have a Delta 767-300, no winglets. This plane is going to be making final arrangements for a flight out to Salt Lake City. And then we have a Delta 737-700, which just came in from a flight from New York, JFK. And then we have a Delta Airlines Airbus A319, which just came in from a flight from Atlanta. Starting us off with the JetBlue, so you have a JetBlue Bada Bing Bada Blue livery. This plane just came in from a flight from Fort Lauderdale. And then we have a JetBlue, our 100th A320, Airbus A320, which just came in from a flight from New York, JFK as well. And last for this concourse and terminal, we have a JetBlue Airbus A320 in the Harlequin shades of blue tail. This plane is making arrangements for a flight out to Orlando MCO. So next up is going to be concourses B and C, otherwise the United Airlines terminal. This terminal right now has D gates and American logos on them because this once was the American Airlines terminal at my main airport, but I converted it into the United terminal because this was inspired by O'Hare, especially with the round silver roof and the windows that tried to make it look like O'Hare a little bit at United's concourse. These are probably some of my favorite models of all time. I absolutely love this livery. There's one in the battleship gray colors, but mostly all are in the tulip colors. I just love this scene over here, and I'm excited to show you guys. Starting us off here in the first gate, it's not the D gates, is the United Airlines 777-200 in the blue tulip livery. This plane is making final arrangements and last call for a flight out to Tokyo and Narita. And then we have one of my favorite models of all time made by GeminiJets is this beautiful United 747-400 in the tulip blue livery. This plane is just gorgeous. I highly recommend it if you could find it if you're an avid United Airlines collector, but this is just, I love this plane. But this plane is going to be making a flight out to Honolulu. Next up to that is a United 767-300, no winglets, in a tulip blue livery. This plane just came in from a flight from San Francisco. And then there's the United 787-8 in the blue tulip livery. This plane never existed in the old livery. It was only in the new Continental colors, but I really wanted this plane when I got it as well because I just wanted to collect it with my other blue tulips. But this plane is making final arrangements for a flight out to Frankfurt. And then we have a United Airlines Boeing 757-200 just pulling out of the gate to make a flight out to LAX. I did change the gates because they're really annoying me how they're American Airlines. I apologize about this. I just didn't want to repaint the gates because it took me a long time to put the American Airlines logos on them. Next up, we have a United Airlines Airbus A320, which is currently being cleaned up and making arrangements for a flight out to Dulles. Last but not least of the B concourse, we have a United Airlines 737-300 making arrangements for a flight out to Denver. And then we have a United Express ERJ-170 making final arrangements for a flight out to Boston. Starting us off in the C concourse, we have a United Express ERJ-170 making arrangements for a flight out to Boston. And then we have a United Express ERJ-145 in the blue tulip livery. This plane is just boarding for a flight out to Cincinnati. We have your United Express ERJ-200, which is just pulling out of the gate for a quick flight out to Cleveland. And last but not least, we have a United Express Saab 340B making arrangements for a flight out to Harrisburg. Headed for the runway is a Qantas 747-400 in the One World livery. This plane is about to take off for a flight out to Sydney. Taking off, we have an Air Canada Express -8 Q400 with service out to Montreal. Next up is the American Airlines terminal. There are 2 concourses to this terminal, and one of the sides is going to be regional jets and 1 wide body, and the rest are all mainline flights. Starting us off for the Americans is an American 757-200 in the One World livery. This plane is going to be making a flight out to Miami. Next to that, we have the classic American MD-80, which is just pulling in from a flight from Dallas-Fort Worth. Next to that, we have another American 757-200. This plane is making final arrangements for a flight out to San Juan. And then we have an American 767-300 with no winglets. This plane is making an arrangement for a flight out to JFK. Last in the row for the Americans at this concourse is an American 777-200 in the One World livery. This plane is boarding passengers for a flight out to London Heathrow. Reaching the other side of this concourse, we have an American 767-300 with winglets. This plane just came in from a flight from LAX. We have an American Eagle CRJ700 with service out to St. Louis. Next to that is another beautiful American Eagle ERJ145. This plane has service out to Boston and is boarding for final passengers. And then we have an American Eagle ATR-72, which is just arriving from a flight from Washington Reagan. Then we have an American Eagle Schwartz 360 with service out to Detroit. And last of the American Eagles, we have an American Eagle Saab 340B with service out to Toledo. Headed for the gates is a Cathay Pacific A340-300 in the One World livery. This plane just landed as headed to the gates from a flight out to Beijing. Reaching the international terminal at O'Hare, we have a fictional route here, Star Alliance SAS MD-82. This plane would not exist at this airport, but I decided to get it anyway years ago. But it is making a flight out to Copenhagen. Next to that, we have an Air Jamaica 737-800 with service out to Montego Bay. Next up is an Air Canada Kids Horizons A319. I really like this plane, and it's just coming in from a flight from Toronto. Last but not least of the international narrow bodies, we have a WestJet 737-700, which is headed for Vancouver. I don't know if WestJet flies to O'Hare. I don't think they do, but I just decided to include this in this update anyway. We have a China Airlines 747-400, which is making arrangements for a flight out to Beijing. And then we have a SkyTeam KLM 777-300ER with service out to Copenhagen. Up next in the second concourse is a British Airways 777-200 and the Hong Kong tail. This plane is making arrangements for a flight out to London Heathrow. And then we have a British Airways 767-300 and the USA tail, which is boarding passengers for a flight out to Liverpool. We have a Qantas A330-200 in the One World livery. I've shown you guys quite a lot of One Worlds today, but this plane is going to be making arrangements for a flight out to Brisbane. Next up is another one of my absolute favorite models, the Thai A340-600 with service out to Bangkok. Then we have another new model, the Qatar A340-600 with service out to Doha. Last of the internationals is a Qantas 747-400 in the Grand Prix 2011 livery. This plane is making arrangements for a flight out to Melbourne. Another new model is the British Airways 757-200 in the Poppy Pause to Remember colors by NG Models. This model is a really cool model. It's pretty nice and it's really detailed. This plane is going to be headed to the runway for a flight out to London Heathrow. For the cargo section, we have a FedEx 757-200, which just came in from Memphis. We have a FedEx 777-200 with service out to Memphis. And we've got another FedEx 777-200 in the Pan delivery. This plane is going to be making a flight out to Beijing. We have a UPS 767-300F with service out to Louisville, Kentucky. Then we have a UPS 747-400F with service out to London Heathrow. The last plane of this update is a JetBlue 10th anniversary plane, my favorite among JetBlues. This plane is heading out for a flight out to Boston. I hope you guys enjoyed this long-awaited airport update. I apologize that it took me a little bit of time. This is just a huge airport to set up, and I also apologize if it was a bit long, just tons of planes to show. And Next time is going to be an update of Oahu North Shore Kalila Bay, and featured in that airport 2 subscriber routes, Mile High Aviation and Aviation Vegas. Please check them out. If you guys also want another subscriber route, please let me know and I will make sure to include you. If I forgot about your subscriber route, it's just been a long while since I've done that airport, so I apologize about that. If you guys want to see any other airport updates of this one or of another airport that I can do, just let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. I hope you guys enjoyed this and have a great day.